That seems awesome. Everyone is warning about an AI bubble, by the way. Not that it matters. It seems it doesn't matter. Buckle up. IMF and Bank of England join growing chorus warning of an AI bubble. And for me, it feels like, well, on the one hand, people are like, there's an AI bubble, but basically, the counter to that is, nah, it's fine. Nah, it's fine. Yeah. Every warning sign shows that there is there's perhaps an AI bubble that is imminent, versus nah, we'll be fine. I don't even know what is going to happen when this shit pops. Okay. Born too late for the dot-com bubble, born just in time for the AI bubble. Yeah. What does an AI bubble mean? It's just that AI companies are unimaginably overvalued, and they're basically propping up the stock market, and there are no fundamentals backing why there's this level of like investment into AI. And the only thing that this is like bringing for us is just like eco side, if that makes sense. AI development as it is going to hit a crazy dead end. Yeah, this is the diagram that I saw this morning, and it fucking bricked my brain. Here's how the AI bubble is being created per Bloomberg. Okay, just so you know, it's not coming from the wokes. Okay, it's coming from the wokes over at Bloomberg that are warning as well. You have OpenAI, you have Microsoft, Nebius, CoreWeave, Intel. NVIDIA is at the middle of this. NVIDIA agrees to invest up to $100 billion into OpenAI. OpenAI to deploy 6 gigawatts of AMD GPUs. AMD gives OpenAI option to buy up to 160 million shares. Like, I don't even know how to explain this. I don't even know how to explain the funding mechanism here. But it's just one big fucking circle jerk where the value is base boosted to unimaginable degrees. And it's the shit explanation. What this lacks is dimensionality because there is interest payments on all of it. It's an Ouroboros. Let's see what this TikTok or...
Here you go.
Thank you so much. Here you go.
Thanks. Thanks so much. Here you go.
Okay, but what you fail to consider in this process is that we just generated like $800 billion, if not $1 trillion of GDP. Okay, the GDP increased by $1 trillion. It might be the same money exchanging hands. Okay, but ultimately, nobody considers how good that makes the stocks go up and how good that makes the GDP growth look. Okay?
So much. Here you go.
Thanks. Thank you.
Atriarch has an amazing video explaining this. This is super
I want to
clear.
something very, very, very interesting and important. It was about this. The world's most valuable company is investing $100 billion into the world's most valuable private company, OpenAI, linking the two titans of the...
Wait, what? Ask ChatGPT to explain it? No, it's the classic. It's the shit-eating story. Two economists are in the forest, okay? They happen to walk near dog shit. One economist says to the next, hey, I'll pay you $50. An economist says, sure. Dog shit gets $50 in exchange for eating the dog shit. Then they happen to walk a little bit further in the forest. There's another piece of dog shit there. The second economist that previously ate the dog shit that has $50 in his pocket says, hey, dog shit. First economist says, sure, eats the dog shit. Okay? They keep walking a little bit further. And they go, wait a minute. We both just ate dog shit and the $50 just, came back into my pocket. Economist 2 says, yes, except we just increased GDP by $100. That's the story. It's the simple way of explaining how this story doesn't have to be about dog shit to make a point, lol. No, it does. It does. It does have to be about dog shit. Okay? And eating the feed. Don't understand it. It just has to be that way. Okay? Is that a direct quote from The Wealth of Nations? Yes. And also Das Kapital. It's in everyone has only talked about it with this analog. There is no other way to describe it. Simplified in image form. Sorry for the millennial memes. Step 1, hire a friend for $1,000 to dig a hole. Step 2, he hires you to fill the hole for $1,000. Step 3, repeat this process indefinitely. Step 4, infinite GDP growth and job creation. I guess the libertarian counter narrative to this is the classic Milton Friedman thought experiment, where he goes to China. I think it was Milton Friedman. He's like one of these like fucking right wing, anarcho-capitalist, libertarian or neoliberal weirdos. But basically, he goes to China and he's like, why don't you guys use more advanced tools? And the Chinese factory owner says, it's because we want to create jobs. So then he says, okay, instead of using a shovel, why don't you use a spoon then? Except that doesn't necessarily make that much sense, because you can have both. You can literally continue maintaining the jobs while simultaneously improving the tech and then just limiting the workload of the average person. It could be about cat shit too. You just hate dogs. Yeah, famous dog hater here. This is from Das Kapital. Yeah, stop hurting dogs, please. Okay. I hadn't started, but I'll stop anyway. The data centers were manufactured demand for NVIDIA, because how else could you sell chips that rate and that growth forever? When Nixon went to China in the 70s, he told them they could sell them a machine to dig a ditch with much less workers, and China asked them, what would all those people do without ditches to dig, is the story. And then the answer to that is, why don't you use a spoon instead of a shovel if you want to make it more, if you want to make it even less efficient. Except the way that China operates, or the way that China should operate, or the way that every country should operate, is that you continue with automation, but you still maintain those jobs, and you just limit the workload. You lower the burden off of the labor force while keeping the wages either the same or matched up to their output. There is a reason why theorists from 18th, 19th century all the way to like the 70s basically thought that in the future people would be working like 3 days max. Okay? 3-day work week, 4-day work week, except capitalism had different ambitions. Okay? It just improved productivity, and the wages did not actually meet the output at all. And all of that productivity and the output in general, all the wealth that was generated from that process, went to an increasingly smaller group of people, just less and less hands overall. That's a big problem. But people don't even want to envision a world where you could simply create more for the company that you work for because of technological innovations, while simultaneously working less hours in general. Okay? It's just completely outside of our worldview. It's just not something that we can, it's just not something that we ever foresee for ourselves.
Current age of AI. Obviously, upon this news, NVIDIA valuation skyrockets. OpenAI private valuation skyrockets. Other chip company valuations skyrocket. But it left me and some other analysts with more questions than answers. There's more going on under the hood of this $100 billion deal that I think we all need to take a closer look at. But before we do that, I have to go back a little bit. I have to introduce a third player to this game, and to explain them, I have to start with bicycles. Okay? I want you to imagine that you run a bicycle shop. That means you buy bicycles wholesale from a factory and you sell them to customers with a markup. That's your business.
Oh, this is a classic example.
Business reports their earnings. They have a top line called revenue. That's where the amount of money you just made in raw cash. If I sold 5 bicycles for 20 bucks each, I made $100 in revenue. That's your top line, okay? And then on your statement, you will subtract out all your costs. So you might take out wages, 40 bucks, rent, 20 bucks, the bikes themselves from the factory, 30 bucks. And what does that leave you with? Simple math. What does that leave you with? Somebody said 0. That's No, it's not 0. It's $10. $10 of profit, okay? This is your top line, basically your revenue, and this is your bottom line, your profit after you subtract everything, okay?
Why is Atriarch doing theory streams and you're not? Do you think this is theory? I mean, I guess technically it is, except if theory from a left perspective or a Marxist perspective would talk about how this is the value accrued as a direct consequence of the surplus output of the workers, as in the $10 should be going back to the wages under a socialist structure. This is why Marxists consider this aspect that capitalists love to be exploitation. Okay?
So on an actual balance sheet, it might look like this. Income statement might look like this, okay? But in the world of investing, you either want to be growing your top line, that means selling more bikes, or you want to be growing your profit, your bottom line, by making more profit. It could be cutting costs, it could be raising prices, whatever. But you have to be growing one or the other to show growth to Wall Street to get your stock price to go up. If you're doing badly on both, that means your company is not doing all that great. Now, I want to introduce Oracle, which is now the 15th largest company in the world. Oracle, massive growth company, and its CEO, Larry Ellison, okay? What Oracle does is they build the data centers that other companies rent out to use for AI. They look like this on the inside and this on the outside. Now, what's very interesting about Oracle 5 days ago, when they had a massive stock surge, is they reported their earnings and they did not beat on the top line and they did not beat on the bottom line. They had no revenue growth and no profit growth. And yet, somehow their stock went to the moon. Why is that? Why would that happen? Truly awesome quarter. Stock goes up 30%. They made Ellison, the CEO of the company, the new
Fuck Atriarch. I'm really disappointed in you, Hasanabi. What the fuck is this shit? I mean, I think he does a pretty good job of explaining stuff like this. And secondly, we've already talked about this, but like, this is a man who has done virtually everything in his power to try and redeem himself. If you still hate him after all of that, that's fine. But like, you know, he still did it. I know. I think you guys need to understand something, but growth is important. I think allowing people to better themselves and you know, especially if they've made an earnest effort to redeem themselves, is a fundamental part of being an empathetic leftist. So many other creators, the platform, man, disappointed. It's okay. Watch Atriarch believe the dog collar shit. You're speaking too soon. I don't care. If Atriarch came out tomorrow and was like, Hassan is buzzing his fucking dog, I know it. That still wouldn't change my approach. Okay? This is something that is very important for me to explain to every single person, I am a firm and committed believer in rehabilitation. Okay? I am a firm and committed believer in rehabilitation. And if someone has done something awful, as Atrioc did, okay, and then they recognize the harm, and then they seek atonement and turn around and actively work to combat further exploitation or further harm, as he did, okay? So you will platform any awful person as long as they're left so disappointed in you? Is that what I said? No. Expand even further than that. I will platform any awful person as long as they have made an active effort to literally rehabilitate themselves. It has nothing to do with left-right dynamics. He apologized, backed it up with action, and is cool with loving them now. Chad needs to chill, man. Atonement was genuine. Yeah, I mean, and for the record, if you guys still have your your criticisms, or if you're still skeptical, that's fine. I'm just telling you how I operate, right? And this is something that I have believed and been committed to as a principle for my entire professional media career. Anyway, let's continue.
World's richest man. He passed Elon Musk. Why would that happen? Big question, okay? Why would Oracle rise to rank 14? The answer is not necessarily bubble or necessarily recession indicator or necessarily anything. It was because of a very simple number, their RPO number. During the announcement of their earnings, they said, yeah, we didn't beat our expectations for revenue. Yeah, we didn't beat them for earnings. But what we have is growing RPO, remaining performance obligations, which has been rising and rising and rising. And then they announced this. Now, RPO is things we're gonna do. It's deals we've signed that we haven't been paid for yet, is a very simple way to put it. So what they announced was, hey, look, we're not making more money now, but we have signed some deals where they're gonna pay us $455 billion in the future for data centers we're going to build but haven't built yet. It's deals, okay? It's deals. And when they announced this, the stock went crazy. Holy shit. There's so much revenue coming. It's not here yet, but it's coming. So let's catch back up.
Those shits. I down them. Yeah. I am the glizzy goblin. Let's get back to how everything is shitty. AI is one of the only industries that is a self-sustaining bubble that they've created. It's like a bunch of different companies getting subsidies and then funding one another over and over again. It's without AI, I think there was like 0.1% GDP growth in this country this past year. Very cool stuff. Okay. Very cool. That seems good. That seems normal. I think you guys are failing to understand. This is a fundamental principle that I abide by. I'm a believer. Like, I don't even think Atrioc is a leftist, for the record. I mean, he very much is an enjoyer of capitalism and defender of capitalism. And in spite of my disagreements with him, if he's like doing a decent job explaining something, I'm gonna look at that. You sound like Jank right now. No, guys. I don't think you understand. This is probably one of the biggest disagreements I have with like a lot of baby leftists in general. Okay. And it's we're derailing. Okay. My position on people, or like my opinions on this fundamental principle that I abide by in terms of people that are actively trying to limit the harm that they might have engaged in the past, is something that I'm committed to regardless. Okay? I don't know how you handle the scrutiny of policing. I think it's important. I think it's important to address this whenever it comes up. Because I do think that Americans in general have a very carceral state attitude, a very draconian culture when it comes to making, when it comes to seeing people in their worst moments forever. It leaves no room for redemption, and it leaves no room for rehabilitation. That's why I always say charitability is key. What has he done to atone, though? Not watching AI porn on stream since the incident? First of all, he didn't watch AI porn on stream. That's crazy. But no, he actually did use his own fucking money to like go after those websites and take him down. Yeah. Chat, remember the last emperor of China. Oh, you're talking about Puyi. After the Communist Party took power, served his time in the fields, and then returned to society as a fellow citizen to those he once ruled. Yeah. So if you're rich, you can buy your way out of any consequence. No. I don't even think he's that rich, for the record. And this is not about like the financial penalty, because a rich person could just as easily move on, I don't know, pay for PR or something like that. Move on, pay for PR, and continue living out their days. What's wrong with chatters having to respond with something so fucking stupid to every word Hassan says? And podcasts. It's almost shedding time too. Oh, fuck. I forgot about that. Oh, no. The podcast was good. As always, it was an absolute banger episode. Any plans for March's birthday? Marchy Poo is old now. Congratulations. Congratulations to Marchy Poo for being old. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, let's just fucking blast it, dude. Let's just get twisted with it. Let's just go crazy with it, and let's blast off. Will you fire March and get a newer, younger producer? Yeah, for sure. Happy birthday to Vorlo as well. Damn, this is a big day. Hassan, have you ever heard of Israel? What's Israel? I'll bite. What's that? What is that? Yeah, so we're going to be talking about Palestine ceasefire, state National Guard fights taking place right now. Some really interesting things are happening there. Shutdown drama is continuing, but the administration is weird about it. Because on the one hand, they're posturing as though they don't even care about the shutdown, but on the other hand, they're doing things to basically make people not feel the impact as much. And we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about Donald Trump not getting a Nobel Peace Prize, but the person that got the Nobel Peace Prize is a very interesting figure, which I think is setting the United States of America up for more intervention, direct intervention, potentially military intervention in Venezuela. And Jeremy Scahill is obviously going to be on the broadcast later. Jeremy Scahill, friend of the show. What's Jeremy Scahill's at? I don't know why I can't like put the ad on. Did you hear about the Qatari airbase? No, I did, but Trump wants to put sanctions on the Nobel Committee. That's fucking awesome. He is such a petty bitch, dude. It's just at Jeremy Scahill. I don't know why I can't like at him right now on Twitter. My Twitter is like a little busted for some reason. But when is it not? You know what I mean? Yeah, okay. Okay. All right. At Jeremy Scahill. Later, Jeremy Scahill will be on to discuss ceasefire and perhaps scary gaming later. Get in now. www.twitch.tv/Hasanabi. Fantastic guest. He was on Electronic Intifada. Ghost of Yote. I have not downloaded it. Oh, mass layoffs have begun. Russ Vaught. The RIFs have begun. Silent Hill F. Our new VIP Vanilla Mace finished it well before you. When are you and Vanilla gonna game? Whenever she wants. Little Nightmares 3 is something that I did download, for the record. I did. Did you hear about the Tennessee weapons factory explosion? I did. I did hear about it, but I don't have any additional details. I just saw it when I was going live and didn't think that I would add it onto the blast off tweet because I didn't have enough information on it for the record. Anyway, Jet Fuel shit, bro. Everything melted like Akainu and Punk Hazard. For when you're doing Nobel coverage. Yeah, I saw. Okay. Yeah, we got the Nobel Peace Prize. Don't worry. We'll talk about that too. Laura Loomer is crashing out on the Qatar, Idaho base. That's fucking awesome. Who is disrespectful and disloyal to Trump now? It seems like Laura Loomer has found one thing that she loves more than Donald Trump. Interesting. Why are you trending on Twitter for asking a basic question? What is the basic question that I asked? Additional details are scarce at the moment. Okay. All right. Do we have the what do you call it? Do we have a playlist from Themasius? Oh, thank you, Themasius, for the playlist. God damn it, right on fucking cue with the goddamn gray bars, bro. Oh my lordy. Okay. David Simon had an incredible take on AI. I saw that. I mean, he kind of sucks, but he's been kind of whack about the Israel stuff ever since the Israel stuff. Like he's been saying some like hella whack stuff. But the AI take was good. Okay. We'll start with his AI take. Okay. We'll start with his AI take first and foremost. Okay. And also let me blast it. What is this? I'm trending. Oh, this is why I'm trending. I said Hassan Piker asks ex followers if lives improved under Trump, draws mixed responses. I just think in general, everything is getting worse. Like, maybe it's just my perspective. I don't know. Because, like, obviously, I'm in a unique position. I'm well positioned to be one of the very few people, a handful of different Americans that actually have the financial success where I if I wanted to, if I played my cards right, if I just like leaned into capital accumulation, for example, I could be positioned perfectly fine and actually make out like a bandit, right? But I don't do that because I'm a fucking idiot. It doesn't matter. That's not the point. But like, even then, there is just so much going on that is awful. It feels as though every day things are getting worse. There's so much fucking chaos at the domestic front. There's chaos in the foreign policy front. Okay? There's just chaos everywhere. And I don't think people's lives are getting better. Things are incredibly costly. Okay? Things are more expensive than they were before. It kind of feels like the system is breaking down. And people are just like, well, what am I supposed to do about it? I have nothing that I can do about this. I just can only work my regular job and hope that I can fucking make ends meet. Like, it just feels as though that is the meta. There are some who think like, well, at least we're owning the libs. You know what I mean? There's definitely some of those guys out there who are just like, well, we're owning the libs. But I don't think those guys are that prominent. I don't think those guys are that, like, I think even those guys are still fucking hurting, right? Yeah, nothing bad can happen. Only good can happen. But we're mass apprehending and arresting immigrants that are, one, doing jobs that no Americans want to do, no American citizens want to do, instead of like giving them the proper documentation to be able to work in the United States of America with the appropriate clearance. We're even taking away people's clearances when they do have that proper work authorization so that we can deport them. We're also making life incredibly unstable. Oh no, my slave labor. That's a really fucked up way to approach this, because that's not my argument at all. My argument is we should abolish the slave labor like conditions by giving these people the proper documentation and the proper work clearance, and then allowing them to participate in labor unions so they can improve their improve their living circumstances, improve their material conditions, demand more of the pay of the output that they generate, alongside the rest of the already documented and existing American working class. That's my argument. My argument is in the direction of mass amnesty. My argument is in the direction of pro-labor always, right? And the problem is that's not even a condition that people are ready to recognize. Like, they've completely shut off that side of the argument. Fair enough, but there should be proper vetting. I agree. I don't disagree with that. And the thing is, when people say like, oh, open borders, they want open borders, like no one, when people talk about open borders, they don't literally mean that anyone and everyone can just like walk in and out with ease. Like, of course, there needs to be proper vetting and proper clearance. That's why I'm very careful. That's why I'm very careful when talking about like proper vetting is a dog whistle. Come on, Hasi. No. I think it's important to acknowledge this, that like there is already a vetting process. These guys that were apprehending at courthouses have already been vetted by the federal government. And people don't understand that. They think These are people who just like snuck into the country, and the government has no idea about who they are or where they are or what they do. It's just wrong. They actually are constantly checking in with ICE. ICE is now betraying the like handshake agreement, I guess, that kept these people in the country and working to make a statement about mass deportations. They're simply using this as a way to make it seem like, to tell the most racist people in this country that like they're doing a good job, that they're literally fucking arresting people that are simply trying to make ends meet. It's very stupid. Don't say that Americans don't want to do the jobs, even if the jobs suck, because you're capitulating the narrative that the real problems that American workers are at fault for immigrants coming to do those jobs. No, I'm just talking about the reality, man. I'm just talking about the fucking abject reality, okay? In any case, I think this is difficult to argue against. More Americans would be totally on board with doing these jobs if they paid higher, if they had better work conditions. And ironically enough, if they hired more people, for example, so that the workload was distributed evenly amongst a larger population of workers who were getting paid even more. But in any case, that's not even, we're so far removed from that argument. We're so far removed from that argument right now. It's just like doesn't even make sense. What I was simply talking about is we're also fucking hemorrhaging the brain drain. There's like a reverse brain drain now. We're immigrants of all sorts that propped up this country, that made the United States of America the greatest superpower in existence, was largely due to the fact that everyone wanted to fucking come here. Okay. There's obviously a lot of different reasons for it beyond that, but like everybody wanted to come here. All of the fucking high earners, all the people that come from a background of financial security, that got like education, they got college education, like they all wanted to come here. Like my grandfather, okay, he was a fucking engineer. He was like a straight up serious engineer, and he came to the United States of America, and he didn't continue being an engineer. You know what I mean? Well, he also he became like a what is it called when you like sell houses and shit? That's what he did. But like this story is something that this story is a realtor. This story is like very, very common, right? It's a very common story. Like chemical engineers from like Afghanistan come to the United States of America and they become like cab drivers. You know what I mean? Fuck your grandfather. That's a 5% of an American dream. Damn, dude. Hassan, seems like your career is based off of opposing opinions. Wow, thank you, Squirtus Piss. That's an insightful take. The reason why I'm bringing all this stuff up is because like that was a huge deal. That was what made America like such a competitive force around the world, you know? And now we're terrifying the fucking immigrant academics because they're woke and gay, because we're just so obsessed with this anti-intellectualist slant that we're engaging in, that we just treat immigrants like dog shit. Documented immigrants, if they speak out against Israel, it's like, well, sorry, we're going to cut your research funding. Like, that's insane. That's an insane thing to do. I don't even, like, someone was saying we're cutting off our nose to spite our faces, but honestly, it feels even worse than that, because we're not even spiting our faces at this point. We're just cutting off our nose because we love cutting off our noses. That's what it feels like. And we're not even cutting off our nose. We're chopping our heads off. So I don't know. There's a fucking reason why I feel like China's gonna be cleaning our lunch money, right? Like they're leading in a lot of sectors, and I think more and more people are starting to recognize that, especially even the most like deluded American, right? Who kind of realizes that things are not great in the United States of America right now. Every now and then they'll see like some crazy next level Chinese innovation and they're like, well, why don't we have that shit here? Right? Like that's our thing. What do you mean you guys figured out bone glue, organic bone glue? That was us. We used to do that. That was supposed to be our thing. Why is that your thing now? Meanwhile, what we have to look forward to is a government shutdown and the fucking military being deployed. Like we have the fattest Texas National Guard people flying out to Illinois so they can engage in warfare with the regular folks of Chicago. That's insane. That sucks. That sucks. It's so sad to see, because at the end of the day, a lot of people will say, oh, Hassan, you're anti-America. You said America deserved 9/11. You fucking hate America. Why are you here, you piece of shit? And it's like, I advocate for the things that I want in America because I think this will make everyone's lives better, right? I'm a stubborn piece of shit. I could have just moved somewhere else and continued my commentary, right? I could be doing this from Europe. I could be doing this from Canada. I could be doing this from any place I want to. But the reason why I stay here and the reason why I continue this is because I'm a stubborn piece of shit who wants America to do better, right? And a lot of people don't understand that. They just don't. If America was doing great things, then I would be saying it. I'd be the first champion. But yeah, this is another thing that was like rage-inducing, I think, for a lot of people. Sure, this seems impressive, but think of how ridiculously far China lags in funding wars in the Middle East, says Jeet here, writer for The Nation. China officially opens the world's tallest bridge, completing the project in under 4 years. I'm about to say something that a lot of people are going to consider to be a little xenophobic. There is an Ameriboo element to Chinese culture that I low-key think is gauche, a little gaudy. Because this bridge is awesome, okay? And it's an impressive feat of engineering, and I love that. But I'm going to say something that people are going to get mad about. Hear me out. The color of the bridge is not what I'm talking about. The restaurant is cool. All that stuff is cool. It's the fucking waterfall, dude. It's just like, it's a bit much. That's it. And do I care if America was doing this and they put a fucking kind of lame waterfall underneath it? I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care at all. I'd be like, at least we got a nice piece of infrastructure, right? I think it's very Chinese in the sense that like they do this thing a lot where they'll just like build something so grand, so spectacular, and then they'll just like slap on some unnecessary bells and whistles on it. They love that shit. It's just something I've noticed. Japan mogs China in this field? I don't think so. I think China loves its decorations. They love their decorations. They really do. I think it's a little tacky. That's all I'm saying. It's just a little tacky. I've noticed this in the cars as well, in the cars that they put out there with all the fucking bells and whistles that the cars have, and I'm just like, this seems unnecessary. They have a similar attitude about like tackiness that Americans do. I will say. like, this is so dumb. But you hate brutalism. Make up your mind, but you hate brutalism. The older I get, the more I appreciate brutalist architecture. I used to hate brutalist architecture with a passion, and the older I have gotten, the more I have found myself appreciating brutalist architecture, especially because I'll sometimes see the like cool, like I think there's like a French communist headquarters and stuff. Like there's a lot of very cool there are a lot of like eco brutalist architecture, for example, that's super sick. I don't know, bro. You were glazing this last year. I guess we all grow. Has he switched from trains to bridges, chat? No, I just love infrastructure. I've talked about this before. It's not like trains, bridges. I've talked about this when my brother made me go off-roading, and like the thing that I found to be incredible was imagining how they put those fucking like massive pylons or whatever they're called that take energy from dams and then bring it all the way to the cities. Like, I love infrastructure of all sorts. Obviously, in America, a lot of the infrastructure that we have is kind of ass because it's all like highways and it's all just like highways and parking lots and shit. But yeah, the transmission towers. Like, I think about how difficult it must be to build those transmission towers and put them on top of like these mountains. You know what I mean? I think it's awesome. It's like man overcoming nature in some ways, and I think that's very cool. That's what we're here to do. It would be nice if we also were more careful and considerate to the environment in the process, and find ways in which we can coexist. But yeah, infrastructure is dope. Have you seen Iranian brickwork apartment buildings? Yes, those are sick. Those are also sick. Anyway, the craziest aspect of this, of course, is that this bridge was like the cost of this bridge is like 3 months of like ICE budget or something. I think it was like $400 million, which is so fucking annoying when you think about it. Yeah, they made it for like 400 million or 300 million dollars or something like that. And it's just like, when you hear stuff like that, how can you not feel? How can you not feel like we're getting lapped, dude? How can you look at this situation and not go, come on, brother, we got nothing. We got nothing, dude. We got nothing. We're just getting scammed. America is just a nation state of scammers that are constantly trying to fuck one another over. It's just... It's like, does it not surprise anybody? Does it not like confuse anybody? If you're maybe like a China skeptic, fine, sure, whatever, right? But do you not look at this and go, why don't we have anything like this? When's the last time you've seen an American project like this that wasn't like a $400 quintillion stadium that had to pave away an underserved community so that they could put fucking parking lots, because we don't have any fucking public transit in these major cities. So you have to have a car reliant infrastructure, which means you have to literally fucking open up new parking lots so that people can go and sit in traffic for 3.5 hours when they go to like a massive event. And it's also privately owned and it's slapped with stickers all over it. Are you referring to this, bro? Oh my God, I saw this. There's so many TikToks like this where they'll be like, this is a random tier 4 city. Let's take a look at what it looked like in 2000. This is like reverse Israel, by the way. This is unironically, this looks like the reversed video of what Israel did to Gaza. Okay, straight up, they'll be like, "Hey, this was a tier 4 city with no infrastructure whatsoever. Let's take a look at what happened between 2003 and 2025." And I'm like, "How is that possible, bro? How?" They do a lot of like green initiatives around the desert in an effort to make the surrounding areas of the desert like more habitable. So they do plant a lot. Like they are really invested in reforestation initiatives all over. Someone in the chat said tofu forests. Tofu forests, copium. We can't do this in America because there's no profit margin. Yeah. I think he's confusing me with the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kirsty Noem. Yeah. Or maybe he was talking about how